Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here. I'm Phil Rice. This is the Phil Rice YouTube channel. And once again, I'm very, very honored to have a special guest. I never seem to run short of wonderful people to catch up with here. And so this one's quite special for me because I met this person around about 10 years ago at a very special and intimate, I would say is a good word for it, conference with a well-known keynote speaker by the name of Dr. Bruce Lipton that was running a very small conference in front of around 50 people, I think, maybe 50 at the very most. And it was at a wonderful location in Taupo in New Zealand, which is the middle of the North Island. And yeah, I met a chap on top of many other people. And turns out that, yeah, he was into some things that I didn't know that I was interested in. And we connected on the level of things like pyramids and UFOs and conspiracy and many other wonderful, fun and interesting topics. And then, of course, you may have heard the story mentioned that after the Bruce Lipton talk, my friend who I went to the conference with had a migraine and we couldn't help her for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. And then this chap comes over and puts his hands on her head after he asks her. And within about 10 seconds, the migraine, even less, it was gone. And this is what sort of sparked my interest and journey into exploring energy healing, or a form of metaphysical sort of offering where you can help people. And this was such a joyous occasion, this adventure down there, because I got to meet lots of new and interesting people. And this particular chap happened to be there at that time. And another fun thing is that we also happened to share the same birthday as well, which was quite humorous as well. So, but yes, without further ado, I'm going to bring on the one and the only Mr. Alex Krakolinig. Greetings, brother. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thanks for the invitation. Nice to see you again.
You too. Now, which part of the world are you in? Because you're a bit of a wandering nomad. So where are you right now?
At the moment, I'm in Thailand.
In Thailand. Oh, how
So
lovely.
I'm closer than usual.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So you're from Austria, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But you spend a lot of time traveling, don't you?
Over 13 years, over 60 countries. Been around a little bit.
Wow. And, and I think the other thing too is, we could go into great depths here, but you've done a lot of travel. You've visited a lot of teachers and trained with a lot of people. You've done a lot of really what some people would consider to be quite strange things as well, maybe, or things that maybe people haven't heard of. And, I think for me personally, getting to interact with people who are traveling the world and doing these things and being able to share a little bit of their story is quite satisfying for me. So it's wonderful to have you here, brother. And, I guess, and part of the reason I wanted to connect with you is because it's been a while since we talked. And, I'd really love you to, we want to share some cool stuff on the channel here for the people who are interested, because some of the people who are on this channel are also students online and in person of people like Mark Rasmus and, some of the Franz Baden community as well, who are getting into Qigong and Tai Chi, because they can see how there's a movement aspect to energy where you can interact with people. And there's many names for the different systems, but, I think one thing I really liked about what you did is that you came up with your own system and you run your own seminars and these types of things. And, I think that's really cool because, I've got to ask, if I may, you chose the force in you, and we'll do some, I'll show people the website and things soon. But what made you decide to sort of develop your own system, so to speak?
The thing was, in the beginning, I never even thought that I would do something like this. So first I was a mechanic, then I studied sports science. I've done over 200 sports. I was fully in love with sports, but because of my disc prolapse, what I had when I was 23, I couldn't walk without pain for 1.5 years. And so I went from extreme sport to extreme spirituality. And so I tested everything and was looking what is the most effective thing. So for me, it was constantly this strive to find solutions for everything. And then I found that there are easy solutions for everything. And But then how more I tried to talk about it, how less people understood it, because I was still like in this giving, 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 and people were already full and were not ready to let go of their old point of view.
Mm.
And so for me, it was always, I came from internal, like from martial art, went into internal martial art, went into quantum healing. And so I just was constantly adding from all kind of different shamanism, knowledge, whatever. And it mostly goes to the same root. You just have like different names, you have different perspectives. And so in my seminar, mostly it depends on the people. What do you want to learn? Where do you want to go deeper? For me, I don't care what I teach. I just go empty and I give you the information what is coming through. And how more you are in this empty state, how more you can feel the room consciousness. Then you see, feel all thoughts, emotions, and then you just give it out and people can work with it very easily. So the name The Force in You didn't came actually from me. It was one of my friends who was also long in this contactless fighting stuff for over 20 years. And we wanted to do something together. And because he was watching Star Wars, he came up, it's the Force in You seminar. I said, okay, it sounds kind of funny. But so then when I started to create everything, he never got time. He didn't do anything. And so then I was again on myself. So I always was looking actually for other teachers to combine everything to make something bigger, that I don't need to be the lonely fighter what I've been all the time. It was never about me. For me, it was always about giving the knowledge out to the people. So even like when we met 10 years ago, I was like Indiana Jones with a USB stick. If you need something, you have all the data or meditation or music or movies, whatever you want, I give it to you for free. Because for me, it was each one teach one and sharing is caring. This was this philosophy, what I was living. So mostly I was just charging in Europe. And when I was in Asia, just giving everything for free or free donation. One was even teaching dance back then. Like I was teaching hip hop, salsa, breakdance when I was in India. I traveled around and giving workshops in this area. And later, it was like more known as a healer, but then I didn't want to have all the patients all the time, because when you're constantly, let's say, with unstable or crazy people, you also become crazy because it's sucking your energy, say it politely in that way. So for me, then I went much more, okay, how can I teach self-mastery? And then from self-mastery going now into life mastery, because when you have mastered yourself, you go into enlightenment or different things, then it's about giving it back again to the community. Instead of just staying there in the monastery or in a cave and going into light when you die. There was for me something, but the really hard thing is not to stay in the cave. The hardest thing is to stay in peace when you're out there with all the crazy people. Stay like
Yeah, this is it. I think like the stillness is very addictive, and we can dismiss that. We can do a lot while we're here, and I'm conscious of I've got a friend who's a Reiki teacher, and he sees maybe 3, 4, 5 people a day, and he's been doing that for maybe 13 years. And but he's also very active. He plays tennis and he goes surfing, and he's very these kinds of things, and he leads a good life. But I mean, you kind of have to do those kinds of things, and I think if you're gonna be involved, then you've got to go and have a good relationship with nature, because I understand that. But yeah,
sorry to interrupt. Because I saw with so many Reiki people, they have all like eyes like this. That's why I made the sign, because it's the kidney and stomach energy.
Yeah.
So when you do too much, and especially if you do Reiki and you concentrate on a symbol sending energy, you always send your own magnetism with it. And this is what I found so many times. Like, I just have been 3 weeks in Bhutan, and then I came to Thailand. And so a friend showed me, I have a patient. Can you help this? And this guy was 5 times vaccinated, also have a stem cell vaccination. After this, his body was totally fucked up, having nightmares for a half year. And I really felt like after 2-3 days just being with a person like in this state, it also drains you a lot, even if I do many years of qigong and things, because people are in a different state and different fear state, and this also affects every field around you.
Mm. That's
And so
quite a bit. Sorry. Yeah.
oh, it's like especially in the collective. So for me, it's like nowadays people go in the jungle for seeing a safari, right? But I think in some years people will go into the city to see the safari, but not because of the animals, because people are crazy. So you want to live more in a peaceful place, like in New Zealand, in the woods or somewhere where the nature is still nurturing. And that was happened to me when I was there. I was like, oh my God, my body healed immediately. I really felt like, oh my God, I have so much energy. I love New Zealand.
Mm.
And then I was a little bit in shock, actually, going there again 2 or 3 years later. And then all the people were stressed, like in Oakland. Everyone was honking, horning, and was like, what's going on? The Southern Island was still more east, but I was like very surprised because of the government fucked up so many things.
Yeah, pretty. It's a very, I talk to a lot of people around the world, and everyone's living in a very different situation. And we're quite blessed here in New Zealand because our population is still quite small, and we have lots of natural environment. And there is obviously a big move to start packing people into cities. I mean, we have huge amounts of housing development. It's almost like they're trying to triple the population here where I live. We have more cars and more activity. And so people are more stressed out, and you can feel it, you can see it, you can smell it. And and it's I'm very lucky because I live next to a small forest bush reserve, and so I can go down there and do my qigong in there. But you're absolutely right, brother. I mean, I think doing healings on people, and like you said, you've been a very active with Neigong and qigong, and the I would say some of the most rarest and interesting art forms, because I've seen lots of your videos. And for you to say something like, healing with people who have had certain pharmaceutical interventions and problems and that leaves you drained. I mean, far out, like there's something to consider, and so I think when it comes to, like you said, self-mastery, teaching people to sort of sort themselves out, so that they're not leaning so hard on others, I think as well, perhaps.
I think if you just stay with people and you stay in your heart field, it won't affect anything. But when you start working, it means like I tune into this other person. I feel what this person is feeling. I try to open up certain fields that this person can receive love and healing. Then you start mixing consciousness and emotions and everything. If I just stay in my heart field and just sitting there, nothing will affect. But I think as soon as you start working, and if you're not stable, if you're stressed by yourself, and I was quite stressed because from 3 weeks Bhutan, going up 3,000, 2,000, 5 hours in the bus every day, it's not the easygoing journey. And therefore I came already like kind of tired, and then went to a conference, what they had in Chiang Mai about longevity and everything. And then you are with a lot of people who are not stable. Then I will think, oh, I need to come down. I need to go to massage. I need to recover myself first before I do another work.
Yes. Yeah, I think too that a lot of people who want to get into, healing, they might, because it's very common for people to start with something like Reiki. And there's a reason why, like people do Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki 3. And Reiki 1, it's like, learn to connect with your friends and your family and things first. Because if you put yourself straight out into the world, you may not have the resilience to be prepared to, encounter other people and what they have on their plate. And I think it shouldn't be underestimated how much you can take on from other people by doing this kind of work as well. It's a big thing, man. So, but hey, I've got a really cool video that I want to show everyone in the chat. Hi everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging out. If you guys have got any questions, we'll get to some questions at the end of the first hour. So please throw them into the chat and we'll get to them. We're talking to Alex from The Force in You, and I've got some cool videos and things of him showing his Jedi skills. And This should be good. And please, and if you like these videos that we're making here, guys, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated. All right, let's have a look at something here. So I'm going to the Force Anew website, and this is a video. Now you've got some pretty amazing videos on your YouTube, which we'll definitely share in a bit too. But I'm just gonna crank this one here. Hopefully the sound will come through.
Yeah, I think it's not loud enough, but it was just like when I was still back in training, when I was still doing a lot of taekwondo and doing some little shows with my trainer at that time, breaking breaks and things. That was actually in Mexico 6 years ago when I tried to do it not with too much force, more like with relaxation.
Mm.
And this was how I started with the quantum healing, actually. And
Yeah, you got me into this. Was that Richard Bartlett type?
yeah, there's Richard Bartlett, Frank Kinslow. This was the first two people who were much more known in the US and Europe. And Frank Kinslow was talking about quantum entrainment, and Richard Bartlett called quantum healing? No, matrix energetics. Sorry, yeah. So this was actually a funny book, and so how I came to it was because of the disc prolapse, and one of my friends, he put just his 2 fingers on my sacrum and asked me if I feel a difference now. I said, yeah, my pain was away in less than a minute. And so that's why I started to research. But when I was reading the book, I was like, what the fuck is he talking about, healing blind people? Because at that time, it was not in my reality. Now it's also just like normal if you can change eyesight, etc. Because I had -3 and then I healed it with different kind of techniques.
Mm.
And yeah, then I had like a problem with my ankle for a half year, and that's why I connected my brain with my heart field, make a coherent field, and then put the energy ball into my ankle. And after a half year, nearly not being able to walk without pain, then I could walk normally the next day. This was
Wow.
like I needed all this experience to fully trust that this is possible, because I came from a scientific mind. So I never believed anything. I had to try out everything, and came from a teacher family. So later, this became normal.
Yeah, we've I think this is very valuable to bring up is that,
That was
like,
actually in New Zealand.
yes, I mean, I can see that's our money. Yeah. That's pretty good.
That's when I was trying it the first time.
And I think too, brother, it's good to see someone who's into psychic skill development, who's got such a well-chiseled Greek body to encourage all would-be Jedis to stay in shape.
Actually, I stopped training more than 10 years ago. Back then, I was still like doing a lot of breakdowns, and nowadays I just do like a little bit of my Qigong training 2 hours a day, and when I want, sometimes a little bit running, bicycle. Sometimes I go even for dancing, a little bit salsa dancing, but not much. It's not so much what I do. I have to start again, actually, because I really felt like, oh, if I'm not moving, you can always access the energy and the different states, but I think the most important thing is the embodiment. And I think this is mostly missing. Like, as long as you're powerful and you have the pump, you have the electromagnetism. And so therefore you always feel strong. But if you have now some weakness because of process, everything takes much longer. It's the thing, like when you're young and you're injured, you're healed in 1 day. When you get older, then you need 1-2 weeks. Why? Because the cellular info, the cells are not open. So you have to be flexible and active and make the cells open. And then also the healing is the same, like even in minutes. That was also in New Zealand when I've been in the island in the north from Auckland with Nikki. I was doing my first dark retreat actually at her place. She's a quite strong woman, and so I was like sending some energy into her egg and see if she can break it or not.
She's trying to break the egg. Yeah, right.
And so I tried also like to harden the pulp or like changing the taste of a tea when I was in Japan. And we put sugar in it, and it was still bitter. I said, hey, how are you doing this? Because I put like a lot of sugar in it. But actually, I don't even do this kind of stuff. It was a long time ago when I was still interested to research if possible. But for me, I went away from all the spiritual powers. It's sometimes fun to train and to give it to people. But for me, the highest ability is still to have a fully loving heart.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I think the only ability what is maybe important or good would be to train would be teleportation.
Yes, that'd be handy.
That's the only thing where I said, okay, even if we have these devices already, there's a patent long time ago, and it will come maybe in the next 100 years to society. But as a human doing like teleportation, I don't like to fly anymore. It's a airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you could even see like after the energy transmission that the carbon is less and the gas is less, and the color is different. And then how you can affect also the environment around you. Like to get the wind or like flash. And then you could even hear like connecting, okay, when is it coming? Thunder. So this is all about actually oneness. So if you really want to develop spiritual powers, instead of just doing a lot of concentration techniques, I go much more the way to go into the state of love and oneness. Because it heals you instead of just like, because everyone can train spiritual powers. But the thing is, I saw so many people who got no character. You can, because if you can levitate, but you're still an asshole, you're just a levitating asshole for me. So you're not a good teacher, you're not the master for me, because you still haven't done your ripening process. And I met people who are like over 50, 60 and still have these ego issues because they levitated or they can do telekinesis or electrokinesis. And that was for me, okay, I was happy that I could get some information so I could give it to other people. But for myself, I just feel, oh, if I was this person, the thing is like, how more you stay with different people for a long time, it's like staying with the family. When the field is toxic, how can you grow?
That's right.
It's like with a plant. If you don't give the plant water, it won't grow. So the thing, if you don't get the love from the family, you won't grow in your family. You have to get out from it. If you feel like, oh, there's constantly, your teacher is constantly comparing with yourself or is jealous on you because you're faster, you have to go. And this is what I experienced many times. Because even my teacher, when he was not the teacher, I've been on 2 seminars with him. And this was the guy I wanted to do something about the force he knew. And he said, even the first time he met me, he said, hey, I only know one person who is as sensitive as you, and this is this one. And he was showing on himself in the mirror. But then he later even told me that he was jealous. And that was for me like, hey, how can you be jealous? Like, for me, it's the most important thing that my students go a faster way than me. That means that I can become a good teacher. Because I took maybe 1 year to reach some different enlightenment experience, and I brought my girlfriend to 3 months to go this way. And now I will do an enlightenment seminar and lead people into 2 months into this kind of state. Because for me, it's all the time, okay, what else is possible for you? It's not about me. And for some people, they can immediately access because the energy is fast. And for other people, they still need to clean up. This was a seminar in Switzerland, and it was like so joyful after receiving the healing. And he wanted to hug me. I said, no, you don't hug me. Hug yourself. Give the love to yourself.
Yeah, I think you said it really well. You know, like back in the, when we first met, it was all about exploring all these powers and possibilities, and you did that for years, and I did it too. But eventually, it's like, you demonstrate that these things are real to yourself, and you're satisfied. But there's more, and your priorities change too, don't they? You know, you think you want other things, and like you said, you know, like, I mean, watching people improve and seeing people go past yourself as a teacher is very, very great, satisfying for a teacher to see the students go past them. I felt that as a guitar teacher as well. I had students who surpassed me, and their lives were, were very enriched by this. And obviously, this is one of the things you first showed me was, I think you introduced it to me as Russian contactless fighting, was what you sort of said to me. But
Yeah, there are many different traditions.
yes,
One, mostly, I think, first experience in Aikido, Aiki,
yes,
and the inventor from Aikido, it just happened because he was more in this connection and things happened. And then I researched about the Nagadalam in Indonesia. They also do a lot like with vibration and energy. And then I came to the Russians called Lubki, and also like some parts in Sistema, and Ryabko just died, I think, last year.
yes. Yeah.
So for me, it was always like, okay, how is it working? Why is it working? And when is it not working? So for me,
Yes.
it wasn't, oh, I'm the big teacher and nobody can touch me. And of course, in my state, it will be hardly possible for you if you don't know how to do it. But if you know how to do it, you can even get out every teacher from their state. So that's for me something where I felt like, oh, people are in a cult, or this is the big guru. And so then people have this wrong picture, like, oh, I'm bulletproof, or I'm like this, or like that. It's like, hey, you are never 100% stable all the time. And there are reasons for this, also for your growth. Of course, in the seminar, you go into a higher state, you are pure love, you're pure emptiness, you're pure pureness. And in this weekend or this week where you just teach, then you're fully in that state. But it doesn't mean if something is happening right now, that you're ready for this. You don't know what is your experience in this plane, what is needed for you to experience. Maybe you need to experience some weakness or illness or whatever. And I think many people just are looking for this kind of power because deep inside they feel weak. There's this inner insecurity, the same as with a bodybuilder. They got actually a big heart, but they are so threatened from the childhood, so I need to make my body so strong so that nobody can hurt me anymore. It's the same program why people got fat. You try to make a shell to protect yourself that nobody's coming close to you anymore. And so for me, why I researched this stuff was more like I remember my past life, and this was normal to have this knowledge. It was more like when I can do it, everyone can do it, because I was quite weak. I had a lot of illness in my childhood. And so I could see, oh, this and this and this is working. So how can we support each other? But it was not about me. But I felt people needed sometimes a guru. So if you need a guru, okay, I do it now for a short time, but it's more like you should understand you have to be your own guru. There's one thing, I give you the teaching, I'm happy to help you, but all the time is you have to allow to go into emptiness and get your inner voice working, that you really feel like, oh, what do I need right now? And stay constantly in this question instead of like having all this fixed opinion about Negong, Qigong, whatever.
Yeah.
Because they stay again in the mental plane. It's good to have some knowledge. And there's a reason why things are working. But how can you invent something new? How can you be the space of possibilities when you're still holding on so much old things? And the thing, what I felt with many teachers, they especially in Asia, they just do one thing to feel, oh, this is the perfection now. And because they say, oh, European doing 1,000 people and can't do anything. And I think, yeah, 90%, this is totally right, especially in the esoteric part. People, oh, I have done ayahuasca or whatever, and believing they're spiritual. So no, you're just a drug addict. It's like you're just addicted from life now to a certain drug to makes you high, to have an experience, and believing having experience makes you spiritual. This is the main problem, but I see there's everything is a placeholder for love. And when you don't need to do all this compensation, then you just do it out from your beingness. and not because I have to compensate. I don't need to do sports anymore for compensation. First, it was totally compensation and addiction. And then I was training 3 to 6 hours a day. And now when you're on the field playing beach volleyball or ping pong, it's like, who is playing now? Is the healer playing now? Is the crazy sports guy playing? Who is playing right now? And what is my intention in the game? Do I really need to win, or do I just want to have fun? So there are many things when the consciousness is ripening, you still do the same thing, but you do totally different. And there's the saying, I don't know if it's the right one, but there's something like you go into the kitchen, you do the dishes, you get out, go to the toilet, get enlightened, go back to the kitchen and do the dishes. Still do the same thing. But the intention, and that I felt like with dancing, first dancing was more about me getting the energy out and getting crazy. And then I was more like, oh, I'm here for the woman and let the woman shine. So from this self-centered, I felt more like becoming the observer. I'm observing. But this when it happened when I, from 2017 to 2019, I went through some different enlightenment stages. There's a book called Lock 1000 from Ramaji, an Indian guru. And so I'm always skeptic, but I tried some different energy transmissions when I was in India. And one other friend showed me something. And then I really felt like the difference in my being. And so then when I was reading books, I said, oh, now I'm this stage. Oh, yes, I feel the same thing. Oh. And then I was at that stage. And then I was 2019 in Mexico. And after I reached this Lock 1000, I was a half year in emptiness. I couldn't function properly anymore. It's like, who am I? What I'm doing here? I don't know if I go back to Europe. Should I ever teach again? I had no will, no wishes, no desire. I was just here. And it's very uncomfortable in the beginning for the ego, because you want to know, you want to plan. And now you're traveling. I think it was also when I was in New Zealand, this was the first time I had this. It's like, shit, I'm in New Zealand and I don't know what to do or where to go.
Yeah.
And I was talking to another friend. She was a shaman connected to Mongolia. And she asked me, yeah, what is the fear behind it? I said, oh shit, I'm afraid of the unknown. And as soon as I have this realization, boom, release, staying empty, staying in love, then there is no need to plan. There is no need to do anything. And then the thing's just coming by itself. But from what I was educated, especially in Europe, you have to do something to be something, blah, blah, blah. This all disappeared. That in the beginning felt, quite weird. It's like talking a new language in one day. And then your whole brain is, restructured.
This is it, as
so many topics.
that's all good, brother. Like I think what it is that, if you're genuinely seeking, things are going to unfold in ways that you cannot perceive or conceive. And, and you're right, I found this too, lots of time in emptiness and then coming out and then losing will and desire. And it's like, and it's like, how do I get back what I need? And it's, well, you want to return back to something familiar, but it's not there anymore. And so you've got to kind of change the way that you sail the boat, because the wind it's different now, and I think you're right too, is like, when you're talking about, you can be on this track for a long time and develop lots of powers, but if you haven't done the refinement side of things, there's lots of, what do they say, in yoga, anyone can go and learn how to stretch, but there's plenty of flexible psychopaths out there. And the body training and these types of things is very important, but it's also, like you said, there's something very special. And I found meditation by doing the heart math exercise, that one, which is quite well known. And that was how I discovered meditation in the first place, was just exploring that. And that in itself, like you said, if you're radiating love as a healer, you don't need to do an exchange. You're just naturally radiating something that others, that the field of the other person can feed off. And I think, I find this too, is that we've got sort of these different realms of activity within our being. And if we're aiming for the most refined states, then I think that there's more we can do and less perhaps damage or, potential pitfalls and things. And so, when I hear about, when you say, you go for a walk or a run or a bike and you might do a couple of hours of Qigong each day, I have to say, that's for me too. I really enjoy just doing those simple things, sitting there and trying to do telekinesis and things like that. Kind of done all that sort of stuff now, and you're looking for more. So what's happening for you now? So you're just traveling and enjoying and still doing some teaching, or are you seeking again? Where are you at right now, brother?
The seeker died over 5 years ago. There is nothing seeking anymore. About telekinesis, it's a good concentration training. For me, every kind of ability or whatever you're training, ask yourself, how can I apply this in daily life? Because otherwise you're just a sports stupid. So that's what many professionals have the problem with. Like, they did professional sport for 20, 30, 50 years, and then they don't know what to do with their life because they haven't adjusted all the life lessons what they had in sport into daily life, and then their character is shit, their life is shit, or whatever. Even that they had a lot of success in sport, but then they couldn't apply it in life. And so, me, everything what you train, your daily thing, what you do is every day is your dojo. So everything what you do from the morning to the night is actually a training, and this becomes your pattern. So what are you training every day? Are you training every day to be grateful? Are you training every day to be stressed? Are you training every day to make a lot of money? So what are you training? And many people don't even see it that way because they're just constantly in surviving mode and say, oh, now I have to train my body, now I have to train my mind, now I have to make the family happy, whatever. So why should I train telekinesis? It's nonsense. I have hands to use some stuff. But if you train telekinesis from the aspect to have a strong concentration for manifestation, if I can have an influence on a certain matter, how can I influence reality? And how much can I invite things into my life to have more ease and more joy? How can I get my dream partner? Or how can I get a lot of money or love or healing? So this is more like, that's the reason why I would train it, but not to show off. So, look, I can do telekinesis. Yeah, for what? What do I do with it? If you still haven't mastered your breath, your heart, your mind, the rest of your life, then it's just one thing what you were good at. The same, it doesn't matter if you're good in running or any other kind of sport. It's the same thing. You were just using a lot of training for one thing, and you make yourself important by being good in one thing. But it's nonsense. Life is much more than just one thing. And that's what you can see also with the Qigong masters. Just like Master Qigong or can do this, but they're totally miserable and unhappy. Look at the faces from the old pictures, or Tai Chi or whatever. If you haven't transformed the personality, then you just have mastered the ability from me. That's not life. Me versus self-mastery, then we go into life mastery. Then you give out all your embodiment, actually. Because I can talk about things what I'm not embodied, and maybe you get 1% of the information. But if I talk about things, what is my experience, what I embody, you can get much more. You will feel the love, you will feel the inspiration of what brought me there. It's the difference if someone who just reads out from the book or someone who experienced it, wrote the book and read it to you. I think we need storytellers who have experiences, because nowadays in a very chaotic world, we lost the trust in everything. We lost the trust in the government, we lost the trust in ourselves, we lost the trust in our friends. And when you lose trust, then you have no certain drive or direction. And then life becomes quite chaotic too. And also, like, if you do a process like Vipassana, 10 days quiet meditation or dark retreat or whatever you do, it's normal that it brings you into chaos, and chaos is important to create a new order. But if you just want to be like esoteric people constantly in harmony and happy vibes, go away. You have no idea about life if you are one of these happy vibe bitches. I'm sorry. Because you're not stable in life. You just want to have it everything comfortable. There was this old saying, strong man creates a strong world, weak male creates another weak world.
Hmm.
The saying is different, but I just like was cutting it down.
I know the one. Yeah.
I think everyone knows the saying. Because then we're constantly in this comfort, we have everything, nobody is doing anything more. And so if you don't want to put some effort into something, how will you embody it? The same as with money. You want to know how money is working if you want to have money. But as an artist, you don't care about money. You just want to paint, you want to dance, you want to do healing, you just want to give and express. And therefore, 90% of all these artists are beggars. They have no money. But also, like, money has something to do with the self-esteem. So where you have your own value. So you're just doing, but you don't have the value for the art what you're giving. And sometimes there's art, what would be more than millions, what people sell for 10 euros. And then you have things what is not even worth 10 euros and they sell it for 1 million because it's about how you brand and how you sell. There are so many things. And yeah, but for the, how to say, everything comes to the right time. And because, sorry to expand again so much, your question was much more what I'm interested in. It's funny, like, what kind of part in my mind I have to ask to even get an answer. For me, after going through all this extreme, I'm just again like looking what I'm training every day. What is now the gift today? What I'm happy today? Okay, now I just go into a certain meditation, do some Qigong, get more energy back into my body. But there is not this certain, oh, I have to bring goal. I'm just like trying to get every day lighter and more comfortable and more authentic with everything what is. It's like pure acceptance of life. But there is not even a thought about it. It's just like it is. It's a isness. And when you've reached a certain point, then you just like you do or you don't do. There is no importance in anything. You're just like staying and observing and loving. But I was also interested in the rainbow body and how is this working and how you can clean up. So the rainbow body is the highest achievement in Tibetan Buddhism. So if you have no negative thought for certain years and you do a certain practice, like when you die, your body shrinks down to a half meter, and that's why you see the rainbows, because the master expelling all this energy. And if you have a big rainbow body, then you only leave like nails and fingernails, nails and hair. And then there's again something what in the Taoism to say is higher one is getting the rainbow body, but the other thing is don't even care cleaning up the body, you just go into the highest Tao. So I heard a lot of different concepts. But for me the thing is still like, how do you react to daily life? How do you talk to people, to animals, to everything what is around you? Because everything is a little reflection. And you can learn from a tree or a bird or whatever. I got so many stupid life lessons from baby cat that was annoyed to me or whatever. And that's for me like staying in this awareness. What is to do? It's just for me, it's stay constantly in the question instead of having a fixed point of view. This brings you to a much deeper level. Instead of having, oh, this is the right thing, I have to do this 5 hours a day. But what if you just do 5 minutes? Just invoke a certain energy to have even a much higher outcome. Because we are so in linear thinking, believing, oh, if I train Chang Chuang or Wu Chi for 20, 30 years, then I can feel energy and then I embody this. But what do you know about your past life? Maybe you've done this already. Maybe you're totally here to have a totally different experience. Maybe you've been a master, a Buddha already sometime and somewhere else. But it's the thing, like, when you don't even allow certain kind of question, then you know already your limitation of your fixed point of view, what is right, what is wrong. So you can't stay in consciousness when you have too many beliefs in right and wrong. At least it's my opinion. I have also opinions, but I'm not fixed with it. Because we all have life experience. I can say, oh, I had experience in this country this, in this country this, so therefore I have this or that karma. But I will still stay in the question, okay, how can I release it? How can I have a total different experience with this kind of people? Because otherwise, I met you 10 years ago and I said, oh, this crazy Phil, he's so much in his head, he don't understand anything. And then all the time I would see you, I would project this thought into you. And I wouldn't even see what would change in the last year. It's the same problem that happens in the families. Because parents don't see you growing up. Say, oh, you get older, but they still feel you're like a 5-year-old stupid boy. Because of their program. And I think that's the main problem in all our mind stuff, that we stay fixed in our program because of safety. Because if everything is constantly changing and we observe it constantly changing, we become afraid. This because we want to hold on something. It's like being on drugs and everything is constantly moving. Because a person who is totally in their head and needs safety can't take any LSD or whatever, because it would just make him mental damage so strongly, because he needs rigidity to feel safe, solid to say that. But you need to be a certain solid reality to feel fine. And this is like, for me, I was used to be in constant change. I said, even a student said, Alex, I should make a t-shirt with "Don't come close to me if you're not ready for change."
That's a good one.
Because healing don't change anything. How can you say it? Because then it's just changing a pattern, but you're still going on with the same thing, and maybe you recreate it again. But are you really ready to totally change your identification from everything what you believe?
Yeah, I think too, that this idea of being formless or in a free form state, where you are empty, full of love, and you've just, somebody talked about, if you start your Tai Chi journey, for example, just use Tai Chi as an example, and you're able to tune into the energy, because it's, there's not necessarily a lot of Tai Chi practitioners out there that actually experience the energy. They're doing forms and mechanics and things. But that field that you connect with, suddenly you find yourself moving in new ways, and the field starts informing the movement. And, I have to say, like, I can practice certain Tai Chi forms, but I prefer just seeing where it takes me, and there's this kind of thing of like, I don't know, and I'm okay with not knowing. And this thing about letting things go, letting go of everything, and then seeing what kind of comes back. I think we can get so clingy to things that our relationship to it changes, and we end up being caught in it. And we've got to have a gap between us and the thing, in a sense too. I think it's good to let things go so we can see them from afar and remember what we've forgotten. I think this world is such a busy place. We can change the way we see things.
There is the link is the end. It's not just, you have foundation, and then you have also a certain kind of consciousness of what you can invoke to even make it stronger. Because how did the foundation get created? There was also someone playing and trying out things. For him, it's working. And so we forgot this, that we have also the ability to create something, because every kind of genius or any kind of professional sport athlete, whatever, is doing something totally different than the masses, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise he wouldn't be the best, right? So he needs to do something totally different, what is adjusted to his body and mind. But no one else can do it, and that's why he's the best in it. And if you just copy and by hoping, this was the great master, and there he came there. But then Qigong, Neigong, there are so many liars, and there is so many lies, because so many masters didn't want to give on the real teachings, to hold the students down and to really see if the people are ripe enough. And then you see even in some methods where people got cancer and very ill, have no awareness about how healing works, but still wanted to be the big G master. And said, hey, you're not even aware of your own body. And that's what I saw. It doesn't matter if you're always many spiritual teachers. And I was questioning, how is it that Buddha died with 80 and ate some poisoned pork to just show that everything is anicca, everything is constantly changing, and you're not an immortal? So who interpreted that nonsense? Or Krishna, or like Ramdas, or the famous healer who got a big throat. He was in Europe, quite famous. My brain.
Is he an American guy or a European guy?
It's a European guy. He did a lot of this energy channel, and like it wasn't 100 years ago. He was very Bruno Gröning, and he got the big tumor here. And so I thought, hey, how is it possible that all these big masters have so many health issues? And I think one thing is going into enlightenment and wisdom and being in oneness. And then I think what I saw with many people, you have no identification with the body, you don't care, you're ready to die every second. And I had the same feeling. And then I thought, oh, look, but if I don't have a certain drive, especially what you talked before about emptiness, then you have no wishes anymore. But then your energy is not going anywhere. And so I had to start again with some Neigong standing practice where I know, oh, if I just stand in this position for 10 minutes, I get my willpower, my fire again up. Because otherwise your whole energy collapses because you're ready to die. You've done your thing. It's the same like with old people who have no will anymore to live because you have lived my 80 years. Then I just let go of the metal energy in my lungs, my last breath, and I just go. Just from the physical aspect. And so I same saw with my father. I asked him, hey, why you don't want to live? You should choose now or you will die. And then he went after 14 months of having pancreas cancer. And it was for me interesting because ordinary people die after 2 months because it's quite hard to do something. I told him all the psychosomatic reasons, did some healing. And for me, it was a very important process to go with my father to his deathbed. And I had to write him, hey, look, Father, I know so many people who would like to receive a healing from me, and you don't even want to go deeper. You just want to have your pain go away, but then you do the same stupid thing. That's not how healing is working. You have to change your whole attitude. If you want to be healed, go to Sri Lanka, do 1 month diet until you're healed, done. But the thing, if you're still stuck in your old program, you will suffer by dying. And I learned so much in this 14 months. And it was for me also like weird as a healer 8 years ago, knowing all how everything is possible to change, seeing my father don't want to live. I healed cancer, people in the wheelchair, malaria, roadside, whatever. And then I said, oh, I can't help my father. I said, oh, interesting. And yeah, I could learn so much, like what are people choosing, and also like about the program in the subconscious mind. So if you still have a win with your illness, and it's most with cancer people, because now you finally get attention, and attention is more important than anything else, because they don't have the love, therefore you get the attention, and it's just a good compensation. Because if you're healed, then nobody cares about you anymore. So that's why people are constantly doing drama, so they constantly are in the center of attention. I did one healing in Mexico at the Joe Dispenza seminar. I think it was 2019, December, yeah. And I was a little bit bored of all the basics, so I started healing people. And there was a guy in a wheelchair. He was paralyzed for 30 years from the throat down. And I asked him, hey, can I do something for you? And I just touched him, I was sending some energy. And he started crying, saying, what are you doing with me? It's the first time I feel my throat and my belly and my chest again. He was totally like, fuck, what's going on? So yeah, maybe see you in the next break again. And then did a short another healing session, and then he could feel his knees. What are you doing? And really started, tears were coming up. Look, actually you could stand up, but you need to know then you're not a victim anymore, then you need to work, then you need to pay taxes. Your life will be different. And are you ready for this kind of change or not? It depends on you, but you don't need to sit in the wheelchair. And it sounds kind of harsh for many people, but it's really like, if you know that everything is possible, because we're living in a multi-dimensional world where all the possibilities are here, it depends more like, how can you tune into this kind of reality? And that's actually what Joe Dispenza is teaching, that you go out of your normal mind, go into a higher state and invoke this kind of reality. That's why you do some open trance, and then you try to do some mind movie where you see what you want to attract and you have to become it. And that's why I say wanting is always lack. That's why I work with negative affirmation. That's why I say I don't want love, I don't want money. And when you still have some tension on it, you release it, you breathe it out, then you say, I am love. There is no need in this. And I figured out then manifestation, everything can be so fast and easy.
Yeah, I think people, when you can release, you're talking a wonderful language here, brother, and that's talking about the tension that we have between the things that we want. There's us, the tension, and then on the other side of that tension is the thing that we want. And the process of visualizing and putting yourself in a position where you can, in your imagination, you can experience this and you can feel it. You go, wow, this is what I want, and you there's, I tell you, it's interesting because once you get into, say, Qigong or some kind of energetic development, you start to feel things a lot deeper. And some things will stand out over the top of other things where they may not have stood out so far before. You have a much deeper connection to, I think, what really feeds your soul. And I think, as far as the value of sort of teaching an energetic system to people where they can explore things deeper, I think it's almost like they get like a better quality compass or an instrument panel for navigating life, because they experience information so differently. It's a much deeper felt experience, and some things feel down here and some things are up here now, whereas before they were kind of here and there. And I think getting trapped in old ways of thinking. I mean, it's been 10 years since we connected, and we've seen each other change from afar, and you've done a lot of travel, and I've seen, I was looking for the video where you were doing empty force type stuff with Shi Hing Yi from the Shaolin Temple. And, I see him, he goes to the Marshall camp, the Marshall Man camp things as well. Like there's a lot of people out there that are just sharing this knowledge and giving people helping to inspire people. And I think you're right. Storytellers with experiences, people, because we're missing stories in the world, all of our big favorite stories.
The stories of trust, where you say, hey, that's why I created a group in Facebook, and also like from the students, they share, oh, I just manifested this. It's more like a reminder that everything is possible all the time, because otherwise, after a seminar, you're maybe in this amazing energy for some months, and then you're back in the field. Why? Because you're back in the old work field or family field. And then you lose this joyful childlike nature where oh, I stay in the question instead of having a fixed point of view. And for me, because you ask, okay, what I'm looking for. Over the last years, I was more looking for a place where I say, oh, this is the place where I want to live, where I want to teach. Maybe having like 2 or 3 retreat centers in Asia, in Europe, and in South America, or wherever, where I feel I just can be there, expand, doing teaching 2 or 3 months, and then going to the next place and really feel, oh, there is good quality water, there is good food, to really create these sacred places for people who wants to go to a higher level. But this was more the rest of it, a search, or like more like connecting, or people who are ready to connect, who can invite me, because from human design and a project, I need to be invited, so I have to wait till people are ready for my experience and knowledge, so I can share it with them. Otherwise, it's just too much for them. There was even a woman when I was in Bulgaria, I just said maybe 5 sentences, And the next day she said, Alex, you are like ayahuasca. I said, what? Did I make you vomit? No, but you have been so on point with the little things what you said to me, so my whole mind changed overnight. And I think, like, consciousness is not for everyone. And we just want to bring everyone there, but it's like LSD or other things are not for everyone. It's just like you have like a mass of 80% who just wants to survive here on the slavery planet, to say it like that.
Yeah.
20% are more vivid. And you see this kind of mass in nature, you can see it everywhere. Even with horses, 80% who constantly at the same place, and 20% will jump around doing crazy things. And I explained it one time, like we have this 3 type of people, like a sheep, a cow, and a horse. And so when you are a sheep, those people say you're still asleep, you just want to follow what people say to be safe. But then when this sheep has a little awakening and see like, oh, there is much more, and becomes maybe a cow and goes a little bit further, jumps around, so let's say a little bit more joyful. But it's still maybe try to explain the sheep, hey, there's something different. And they still want to change all the sheep into cows. But it's not working because they have to realize things by themselves. And so if they have to still go on from being a cow, becoming a horse. Maybe it's a very stupid example, I'm sorry. But for me,
it's actually good. Yeah.
And so now as a horse, you're even much more in this elegance and going forward in life and having more possibilities of running, of jumping, of whatever. But if you still look behind and trying to pull and transform other people who are not ready for the transformation, you become again a cow because you're still talking to all of them instead of staying in your presence and just allowing people to come to you instead of you running everyone behind and trying to change something because you're losing energy with it. Go forward and the right people will come to you. And when all these truths are seen and, oh, we need to change the world, there's so much fight in them. So how can you create peace when there's still so much fight? That's for me the way of refinement. Analyzing where's all your fight, your fixed point of views, releasing them that you can be in peace with everything what is. But it doesn't mean that I have to be a core with everything. I still have a point of an opinion about things, but it don't triggers any kind of emotion. So it's not harming me anymore. So I can say, oh, this is shit. It's just a judgment that I don't like this. But it don't create whatever, what would create even a chemical reaction in my body and resistance and more tension. It's just like, oh, I don't like orange or tomato. I don't eat it. But I don't have a resistance. I still can eat it, but I don't like it. It's not good for my body, whatever. And I think we create this all right and wrong for the safety net. And I was saying, like, for all the people who are out there fighting, oh, we need to change the world. Okay, I have to be. But it's like, who is this guy who is talking this? Who got this wanting? Is it because you can't handle the cruelty? It's like you can't handle crazy government because of your fear. You have this strive to make a change. What can you make a change out of? And that's like when, let's say, we're watching a movie and we see, oh, this movie is shit. And if I want to switch on the light in the cinema, like 100 people will be angry on me because they paid all the price to see the stupid movie. Just change the cinema. I think that's much more peaceful way. And it doesn't mean, oh, I don't look at it. Hey, I looked at all this crazy pedophiles, satanism, whatever is going there. But the only way to really change something is to fully integrate it, going into love, saying, okay, this is happening. We're in duality. How can we put the focus much more on the thing that we all want to have instead of fighting the old, creating already a new system? That's why I said, okay, there is no time to wait for a big Jesus or whatever who will come and save us. It's more about what can you contribute every day to your society, to your friends, to your life, and what's the next step for you to really have an amazing life. So staying all the time in the questioning camp instead of just trying to hustle and survive. But you only can have this kind of thoughts when you have time. When you have time to relax, just sitting somewhere and just breathing. 99% don't have the time to do this. And that's why we need some certain leaders to rule. And I would like to have a government what are with wise people. Because people still needs to be led. Because we have 20%, 5% of leaders, but we need also the masses who wants to do something. And if you just want to try to change everyone to a leader, how would you be like now we have 100 leaders in one room and everyone wants to lead? It's also not possible. We have to lead and follow constantly. And I think that's also sometimes a problem with the ego perspective from people. And I see it in dance. For me, I was always challenging myself, say, I want another man to lead me now in line dancing. I'm a Cuban dancer. The Cuban is not line. And so I was always challenging you, how is it now if a woman is leading me? To really see my own resistance, because I'm used to be a leader. And this is where you can constantly develop yourself in acceptance. And I think that's the main key, going to full acceptance and out from this neutrality, then you can invite things with it. About you said visualization, it only really works when you have energy. Otherwise, you just make a mental circus. If you don't have energy, you can make pictures how much you want. For women, it's much more easier to be in pictures because they're already so strong in emotion. So visualization for women is maybe easier than for men. But you really, emotion becomes reality. It's energy in motion. So how stronger you can feel the state of, oh, I'm healed already, or I'm abundant, or whatever, and you know it, you become it.
I just want to say that there's a particular teacher passed in the last week who's quite well known in the in one of the magical groups, and he had a quote. This is from Ron Clark. This is from a quote from one of his books, I believe, and he said, don't fight the dark, fight for the light, or not even the word fight so much, but I think we can work on building what we want as opposed to working against something that's infinitely resourced and is, almost like, what was his name? Old Blade, Wesley Snipes said it. Motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill, and excuse my French. I don't often swear on my channel, but I just wanted to say that because it's literally like that, I think sometimes we pick the wrong fight, even if it is a fight. I think
because we got taught it that way. It's just education. When you got taught to fight, then you believe, oh, I have to fight every day. And then it's quite weird in the beginning when you don't need to fight and things happen by itself. And for me, it was like when I said 10 years ago, I stopped breakdancing. And first I was trying to make more shows, to make hip hop bigger in the community in Austria. And then I said, let it go. And 2 days later, I get more than 5, 6, 7 phone calls in these 2 days just to do shows. And then what the heck? First I was trying, constantly pushing. And now I let it go. Everything is coming to me. I said, that's how it's working. And then I could see, when it's working like this, then it's working in everything because it's a principle. You have to first set out this intention, letting go of everything that you're allowed to receive.
I think that's a really great sort of point.
And the other thing is about, because you mentioned some quotes about like Bruce Lee, be water, my friend. What does it mean? Because when you're tensed by punching, even a 1-inch punch, it won't work. I have to release and become empty, and then the energy is going through the arm. It's quite easy. And so for me, it's okay. We can go into martial art, but for me, like, what is the higher purpose if I don't use it for daily life? Then I'm just going to Tai Chi, moving energy. It's ego nonsense. Or I push people around. It's ego nonsense. But I have a fight every day. So how can I change the fight? What I have maybe now with a waiter while not getting the food or whatever, opening the heart, changing the reality, make it a nice experience instead of staying then with a bad emotion. And that is for me the mastery in daily life. And there is one thing called spiritual mastery, and one is life mastery, energy mastery, many different things. But for me, is if you start only strive for one thing, how many times you want to come back to the slavery planet? Just saying this and still having attachment so much on one thing, because it's again attachment, like Qi, Qigong, or Buddhism, or whatever. That's why there's an old saying: if you really want to go into enlightenment, you have to kill Buddha.
Yeah.
Because you still have attachment to Buddha. Oh, this is the highest master, or whatever, or Guru, Padmasambhava, or Rinpoche, whatever. And I think there's so many great people what are mostly stuck in between 600 and 700 level of consciousness, what they have the scale from Hawkins, to say it like that, because they still are too rigid in the point of view and hoping, oh, I need to be right, and don't see the psychological part, what is holding you down to go beyond everything. Because you can't create something new with your old thoughts. We all know these words, but who is really doing the work? Who is really allowing themselves to stay now in stupidity? How much do you allow to make yourself errors? Just ask, how much are you really ready to be wrong? And then the number comes up. Oh, now I allow myself to be 80% wrong. Oh, what is the 20%? Ah, just breathe it out. Ah, okay, 100%. I allow myself to be wrong and stupid. Okay, cool. What kind of space can I be by being wrong and stupid? What kind of possibility would it create to do something stupid now? That was a very stupid with all my stuff what I've done. But this gave me so much new experience to see, because even in sport, we had some methods where you try to do things many times wrong in different ways to see, oh, what is the right position. That you really have the experience just as following one thing, because we need more experiences with our own body and our own consciousness. And that's for me, it was much more, even when I talk a lot right now, mostly my seminar, the first day is mostly talking and reprogramming the mind. And then the second day was much more exercise, but it depends on the group. If I had more women, I had to talk much more. If I had more men, then it was mostly just like more ways how to get out from victimness. But it always depends on the group. It's not about me. So I say mostly 20-30% from the principle stays the same in the seminar, but all the rest is about you. I'm not here to just like put all out the same fucking knowledge. No, I'm here in emptiness. I'm in the space and allowing every kind of information coming through that you become much more awareness about your life. And that's for me the first pass of self-mastery. And there's still so many other ways what we do. And right now, with my online platform, I just do like one healing session a month and one topic, but at the moment just in German. Because like I've done some English seminars when I was in the US, but it depends. If there really someone out to say, okay, let's go deeper, then I'll do it also in English soon. But right now it was more about finishing my books and getting the knowledge out for people who are ready to go deeper.
Wonderful. And with that said, let's have a look at some of the offerings on the website, brother, while we're here, so we can show people who are watching what they can sort of, discover that you can offer in value. So this is your website, which is theforceanew.com. And where shall I navigate to so you can talk about some of the offerings and courses?
There are still some old courses from different kinds of energy activations or healings, and there are some notes what you can read. And so at the moment, even I think the Force Anew will be renamed into Life Mastery Academy. And so I want to create like a platform what is like Facebook, that everyone can have his own profile, that you really have real connection to people and all the other students. Of course, now I have still the Telegram, but I found Facebook was very good more than 10 years ago. And now it's just became about business, and therefore you get shadow banned. You don't see other friends anymore if you don't really go on the profile because of the algorithm. So for me, Facebook really went bad over the last 5 years. And yeah, this was me the teacher level. What I said, what is the minimum what you should experience, like from doing the Vipassana, dark retreats, and different kind of levels to go to a high level.
Wow, pretty serious looking there, bro.
Yeah, I never thought, because first I didn't want to give too much concept, but I felt people sometimes need, because then they have experienced certain powers. Okay, but this is not a next step. This is the next step. So you can feel, oh, I'm going somewhere, because people are too afraid to just be like this space and being everything. For me, it was normal, but I saw with my long-term students, oh, they need a certain goal that they say, okay, now I train seeing without eyes. Now I'm training some other special ability or adaptation or whatever. So it's helpful sometimes for the ego in the beginning to have a certain path, and I know, oh, this is happening, this happened. Then I'm there. So this were some seminars from Thomas in Switzerland. There's some old videos. The problem was my YouTube got hacked more than 3 years ago, so many videos disappeared. And that's why this homepage is not so actualized. Because I was thinking the last time to really make just this private platform. So
Yeah,
on the YouTube from Thomas Murrah, you still find a lot of interviews and like over 200 videos, I think.
yeah, well, there's about close to 400 on here now. So yeah, there's a lot, and a lot of this is in German. Not all of it, but a lot of it is. But
I
mean,
made a certain playlist where it's just English, so it's easier for people to find. Of course, the training stuff, most I didn't explain, it was just showing there's this. I still have to update it. There are the interviews, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff to discover. Depends what you like to look into.
And I think too that, in a time when people are, especially people say in the West who may be more scientifically minded, or they have a certain way of thinking where they want evidence, they're quite skeptical for whatever reason that is. Like I like things to make sense to me.
I'm a full skeptic.
Yeah, and I think you kind of got to be, but we're not. But we're
because
not.
I never believed anything. That's why I always say, don't believe me everything.
Yeah. It's a good way to be.
Nursing, try out this, try it out, see if you feel something. If you don't feel something, okay, try something else out. It's not for everyone. It don't need to be for everyone. And life is about self-discovery. So for me, it's really like, don't believe everything. That's why I even wrote the first note, I think, over 10 years ago, don't believe what you think, because you have no idea what anything.
And I'd like to draw a line between, obviously there's another name. Skeptic is not the right word necessarily for everything, because you can be open-minded and skeptical towards things and wanting to play and explore. And then there are people who will just dismiss. And I heard a good word, they call them scoffers. They won't even entertain it and explore. But the reality is that when you're dealing with,
I can share an example. There was a telekinesis guy in Germany, and they invited him for a test and told him, hey, if he got the test right, he will get 10,000 euros. And he won, but they didn't give him the money because it was, maybe he was still having a magnet in his head. It was just like, if you have a certain belief and you destroy your certain belief, what you're fully identified on, then you need to fight for your life. And I think that's the main problem. To share an experience from New Zealand again, I was in a hostel and I saw a guy who got a cast and a very dark blue toes. So he broke his foot. And I asked him, hey, if you like, I can do a healing session for you. And he was like, what are you doing? I said, just lay down for an hour. Okay. So we went into his room. I did some healing. After 1 hour, his dark blue toe was only light blue, and his pain was away. He was like fully like blown away. I said, what the fuck? How is this possible? And said, look, I could heal you only to 80%, because the last 20% were not ready to fully release it. I don't know why. It's also new for me. And then I asked him, so what's your job? And he said, I'm a doctor. I'm operating people in the ambulance and I'm cutting them off. And I said, of course, like when your reality for over 30 years is to cut up people and doing operation because this is your normal reality, then meeting a crazy guy from Austria who heals your leg in less than an hour, it's not possible in your mind. And that's why I was not allowed to give him a full healing, because this would make end in a psychosis.
Yeah.
And I think this is, with many things what I've experienced. For me, it's already normal because I live in this state over 12 years, I think, where everything is just possible. I stay constantly in this joyful nature and asking for possibilities. But for others, it's totally new and totally not their way of thinking. And therefore, they feel offended because you have to protect your own mind or this energy. Or the same like with the planned panic. Do you believe in this or you don't believe in that? So everything became like in religion, right and wrong. And people don't allow another one to have a different kind of opinion. And that's the main problem nowadays, that the heart is missing and the acceptance of other opinions, especially in science. Because as soon if you had another opinion, you're already a conspiracy theorist or an idiot or whatever. And even if they finally just found out that all this was a lie, it just comes out, doctors go into court. We have a lot of coming up now in Europe at the moment. So it's actually a good sign. Finally, things get cleaned up. At the same time, we have a full dark side from the World Economic Forum, from the BRIC states who really want to make one world government and going into digital dictatorship. So we are totally like in a clean time for the next 5 years. It depends like how people will react. If we really can come together, or we go into a longer time of slavery. But therefore, for me, it's people need to come together. And that's what I was always like asking for all the teachers out there, for all the healers. How can we create a bigger community? Because the reason why we are manipulated is because they are better organized than we are. 1% is better organized than 90% of the world. And that's the reason why they can manipulate us and do whatever the fuck they want.
That's a metaphysical.
Yeah.
That's a metaphysical principle. If you've even a small group of people who are working in unison or in unity, you know, if everyone else is just wandering around in the dark and disconnected, it's easy, you know. And I think that's why, you know, like, and you said it beautifully too. It's similar but different, you know. Rather than sort of, you know, do you want a healing? Do you want a healing? Do you want a healing? You make yourself available, and you make it so that you're available in people's consciousness to find. You're accessible on Facebook and YouTube and the internet and all these types of things. And when people's time is, you know, to find you, they will find you. Yeah, I think this thing, and we've really noticed it over the last 4 or 5 years, you know, trying to change the world. I mean, I saw what was happening at the protests. These people don't care about protesting, you know. If anything, it's like, yep, okay, we got his face, we got his face, we got his face. You know, I think it's good though. What happened though is because people came together though. That was one of the good results of protests is that there is a community.
It was not a protest. It was like a demonstration, or maybe in English it's different. So if I just demonstrate that I'm against something, and then for me it was a street parade. If you just go and say, oh, I'm walking now a half day on the street to say fuck off government, then I go home again, then I'm not changing anything. Then I even have to ask, oh, can we do a parade against you? I said, what the fuck? No. You have to stay on the street days still to be ready to kill the king or the government, because that's the only way to make a change. Otherwise, it's just a street party.
Yeah.
It's nice for people to feel, oh, I'm not alone with my point of view, and you can connect to other people who are like-minded, but it didn't change anything in the government. We had 2 million people in Germany in summer.
Yeah.
And the government said, oh, it was just 500,000. Who controls the media controls the world. So it doesn't make a big change. The change is, hey, I don't go home till the government is not changing. And this is the only real protest. Everything else is a street party. I'm sorry. And then you get even other problems, like with all the scans, they can now even just happening right now in Germany. Someone was writing in Twitter that the politician is stupid, and the government went at his home to search his home just because he said this. In England, the same thing. People are already getting fined or in jail by talking. Said, hey, I will have a long time life sentence for everything what I posted already in Facebook over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So me, when
we're aware of that. We do see that here in New Zealand.
I shadow banned, blocked the last 4 years. And then, we're going in a very crazy dictatorship. And then you also feel like, why should I even share something when nobody can see it anymore? From 5,000 people, you get 5 likes. Why should I still do this work? So for me, it was about sharing and helping and entertaining and giving people certain knowledge. But when nobody can get it anymore, because even now, I just uploaded the picture and the video from monkeys in Bhutan, and now I'm again shadow banned for another month because it said that there's some violence. There are monkeys screaming, and you can't even write to Facebook that this is wrong. That it will take some months even. So this is all the stuff that we're going in.
Yeah, I think that, like, because I had another Facebook channel, YouTube channel, where I was very vocal, and it didn't really go anywhere, to be honest. And all it did was actually stress me out. And I didn't feel like, it was nice to talk to people about things that we were all very concerned about. The problem is, though, is that the platform was just shutting us all down. And so now I've added
into the word what I said before.
Sorry?
Maybe you need to even censor the word short vaccine, because otherwise the video won't be seen.
This is it, and so, I mean, this is not a free speech platform. It's a surveillance platform. Yeah. And it needs to be treated thusly as well. And so there's ways of sharing important, valuable knowledge with the world that people can take advantage of without using trigger words, which doesn't really eventuate in anything positive. There's ways to educate and share things. And this is why I love teaching principle-based metaphysics, because people can try these things out for themselves and they can decide for themselves. They can do something with it. And I think, shouting at the TV screen or, these types of things doesn't get anyone anywhere. But brother, hey, I want to say, we're coming up to the 90-minute mark here. I just want to put it back out. We've got,
I just want to finish something about the topic before.
Yes, go for it.
You just need to think, like, why is the government allowing a certain kind of protest?
Yes.
Because I remember, like, 7 years ago, we had peace contrast in every city in Europe, and then they just started to do another protest in Germany about Turks or Jews or whatever, and then again the peace demonstration disappeared. So it's just constantly like you are in a pot with hot water, you open it a little bit so people believe they have done something, and then put it again, close it together. I think this is constantly, we really all need to come together. That's the only way, like creating a community, having a place with the right soil, the right food, because we are all going into a very tough time also with transhumanism and AI at the moment. It's crazy what is there already. I saw things. I know a guy who bought already his own body sleeve. When he dies, he can just put his frontal cortex into the new body. I heard so many crazy things.
Where do you think a nice place will be to live in the world? What are some nice places to live?
It depends on your education and what kind of culture you can be in peace with. There are many places where you say the blue zones, where it's good water, from Costa Rica, from Okinawa, from New Zealand, from Ecuador. There are many places, but it depends, like, are you ready for this kind of culture? Because in Europe, we are in a Nazi regime. That's why I escaped more than 12 years ago. And that's why I was looking for this place. And for me, I really felt in love with Australia and New Zealand, and I remembered many past lives. And I loved also Mexico because of the freedom. But then again, Latino culture is a lot of everything is mañana and is lying. And it's hard to build something up. So European are more focused to do something, to make things done. So, and we talked first about media, and now I know a German guy who makes a special platform just for consciousness movies, Moana TV, and he's also trying to find people to connect to really make it bigger. So I think the only way is really getting the focus now on the things, on the solutions. For me, I'm still looking for a place where I have my own waterfall, my own permaculture, electroculture, to really make a very sane place, a sacred place, where only people can come who really have done the work before. Because that's, for me, really important about self and life mastery, that people are doing the work and not just wanting to escape, because otherwise you have the people who just want to run away from life. That's why many communities are not working, because many individuals are there who is just about themselves and just want to run away from the pressure.
We have a lot available to us to improve our immediate environment, and if maybe we are here for a reason where we have landed, we have community in a village up the road here. I think we're experiencing some pretty radical change here in New Zealand as well, and there is a push to create chaos in our little society here as well. They really like turning the populace on itself. And I think that being radiators and ambassadors of harmony is, finding ways to, this is why Qigong's so great, or energy work's so great, because you can basically express and radiate a harmonizing frequency out there. And it's very palpable. You can see how it changes situations and people. But brother, it's been so wonderful to have you on here. I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you so much. I just want to say, anyone that's been listening, watching in the audience, whether you're watching live or the replay, thank you so much. You can find all about Alex's, I've got all the links and everything in the YouTube description below, so you can go and see what Alex has to offer and the other teachers. And you can see that life is a very interesting opportunity, and there's lots of things to explore. And, you get to the point where, you're not seeking so much. Now it's like, okay, playtime's over, but it's a different type of playtime maybe. And Alex, thank you so much, brother. And if I could get you to stick around just after I end the stream, but are there any final messages you would like to share with the audience before we leave?
Yes, definitely. And therefore I want to invite everyone to close their eyes. Because we talked a lot now, over 1.5 hours, many different topics. And again, the mind is getting active. And what is the main gift what you can get and understand for yourself now for this 1.5 hours? And can you invite now even more wisdom? But okay, what is my next step? What I have to do with all the knowledge? What can I invite now in my life to have a community, to have the right water, the right food? If everything is possible right now, what are you ready to receive? And just stay playful. Don't look for an answer. Hey, if everything is possible, what can we all create? And how much can you believe to live in a peaceful world? How much do you allow it? What number is coming? And when you have had a lot of crazy experience, maybe allow it just to 20-30%, because you've seen so much cruel things, and then you won't believe that this will change. So how can I invite now much more peace to me and to my family? And can you see your family happy now? Peace, joyful. Just open your heart, smile, send all the love, and forgive yourself for everything that happened. Forgive your family for everything that happened. Forgive your friends, ex-friends. Yeah, I am here right now because of all the experiences I had. Can you be grateful for this? And how can you forgive the whole government? Can we let go of the fight against it? What do I need to do to really create a total different life experience? But again, you don't need to know it right now. It can come up as a thought, or it will even happen just by staying playful in the question. Say, hey, universe, please show me. What is the most amazing gift that I can receive? Or how can money come easy to me now? Because I just need it anymore. So, oh, money, please come, please come, please come. Oh, it feels so nice to spend some money on this or that and support something else. Or if I have the information, what will I do with this information? How can I come into action? How can I manifest with love? It's much more easy. And I want to send the whole quantum wave now on all these topics. And say into your heart, I'm fully ready to receive love and healing on all kind of levels, times, and dimensions. Now. You just feel. Say, I allow myself to be, I'm happy to be me. And the only word to be also successful, it doesn't matter what you do, is to be fully present here in this earth. And say, I'm fully ready to be here, this time, this body, on this earth right now. Feel again the connection from your feet to the ground. Maybe you feel more heavy and more stable. And what I haven't finished yet, because I was constantly distracting myself or being afraid of success, are ready now to go out with your love. People want to buy your happiness and love, so you have to radiate it outwards. Now just see how your heart is getting golden white, expanding, making a golden ball around you. And send also all this possibility and love to your city, your country, your planet. Everything comes to me with ease and joy. And how much do I allow it to be again in this childlike nature? Smile, top of the head down to the feet. And feel how every muscle, every tendon, every fascia is releasing more and more. Allow it to become more and more empty. Feel everything going lighter, lighter, brighter and brighter. And again, in this state, what is possible for me right now what I've never considered it? How much am I willing to receive love and healing? Say, I love me, I love my body, I love my life. Feel it. Smile into your heart. Put your hands to your heart. Release any kind of tension. Make a sound by breathing out. Sound is the heart sound. And feel how easy it can be enjoying peace. And instead of infecting people with your stress and mind garbage, infect them with your peace and love. Thanks so much.
Thank you, brother. A wonderful way to end the conversation. Thank you to everyone that's joined us. I appreciate you all. Have a beautiful day. We will see you again very soon. Stay well.
Bye.